The printer's boy, to whom the article was trusted, ran upstairs in a great hurry and prepared to set the article in print. First, of course, as the opening word was "so," he looked for and found a capital S. Pleased with this success, he immediately threw himself on the box where the little O's were kept. But who can describe his feelings of horror when his fingers came out of it without a letter in them? Who can tell of his astonishment and anger when he realized that the little box was completely empty? Not a single little O was in the little O box, and, looking fearfully at the capital O box, he found that in exactly the same state, empty. He ran to his master. "Sir," said he, breathlessly, "I can set up nothing without no O's." "What do you mean by that?" said the chief, who was very angry at being kept from his bed so late. "Well, sir, there isn't an O in the office, neither a big one nor a little one." "What has happened to all those that were in the box?" "I don't know, sir," said the boy, "but one of those Daily News people has been wandering about here, and I expect he's taken every one." "I haven't a doubt of it," replied the chief angrily, turning purple in the face with anger. "But I tell you what to do, Bob. That's a good boy. You go over to the Daily News the first chance you get and take every one of their eyes." "Right," replied Bob. "I'll go. I'll show them a thing or two. But what about that paragraph? It must go in tonight, you know. If not, there'll be trouble." "Trouble enough. Is it a long paragraph, Bob?" "I shouldn't call it a very long paragraph." "Ah, well then, do the best you can with it. We must get it ready," said the chief, who was buried in work. "Just put in some other letter for O. Nobody's going to read the man's nonsense in any case." "Very well," replied Bob. "Here I go." And off he hurried. "So I have to put out their eyes, do I?" The fact is that although Bob was only 12 years old and 4 feet high, he was always ready for a fight. The difficulty described here happens quite frequently in printing offices, and I cannot explain it, but the fact is certain that when the difficulty does come up, it almost always happens that the letter X is used instead of the letter which is missing. The true reason, perhaps, is that X is the most plentiful letter in the boxes, or it was so in old times, for long enough to make the use of it a habit with printers. Bob would have thought it quite wrong to use any other letter than X. "I shall have to X this paragraph," he said to himself, as he read it over in astonishment. "But it's just about the worst paragraph of O's that I've ever seen." So he did X the paragraph, and that is how it was printed. Next morning, the population of Nopolis were all astonished to read in the Teapot the following leading article. The confusion caused by this strange article cannot be imagined. The first idea in the minds of the population was that some devilish trick was hidden by the signs, and there was a general rush to Bullethead's house for the purpose of punishing him as he deserved. But that gentleman was nowhere to be found. He had disappeared. No one could tell how. and not even his shadow has ever been seen since. Unable to find him, people's anger died down at last, but there remained quite a variety of opinions about this unhappy affair. One gentleman thought the whole thing an excellent joke. Another could only suppose that Bullethead had decided to express his anger in the most imaginative way that he could, and to set an example to our children, suggested another. It was clear to all that Bullethead had been driven to extreme action, and in fact, since that editor could not be found, there was some talk of punishing the other one. The more common feeling, though, was that the affair was simply impossible to explain. Nobody could understand what had happened. The opinion of Bob, the printer's boy, who said nothing about his having X'd the paragraph, did not receive as much attention as I think it deserved. He said that he had no doubt about the matter at all, that it was a clear case that Mr. Bullethead never could be persuaded to drink like other people, but drank beer all the time, which filled him with wind and made him cross in the extreme. End of CD 3.